Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, today we are continuing to learn from this amazing book that I'm absolutely loving, Fast This Way, Burn Fat, Heal Inflammation, and Eat Like the High-Performing Human You Were Meant to Be by Dave Asprey. Dave Asprey is a Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur and professional biohacker, and just one amazing human being who I've been learning from probably for a decade already. And he's worked and his companies that create different supplements and products to improve the way our biology works. Well, anyhow, Dave is an amazing human being who is always tinkering with, tweaking our research, biology, environment to help us to figure out how to perform and live better and just feel awesome. So today, his new book, Fast This Way, it's all about different kinds of intermittent fasting, how it's best to do it, what we know from science, what we still don't know, what seems to be working for different kinds of people, how to use different kinds of fasting to look better, to feel better, to improve all kinds of health conditions that I'm not gonna even get into today. Today we're getting into female fasting strategies. Now, there is not so much information about fasting and female biology because somehow a lot of researchers, or even we ourselves, women, we assume that it kind of works the same way for guys and for females. For women, when it comes to fasting or diets or any kind of health regime or health routine, healthy lifestyle change. But it actually not the case. We have very differently wired hormonal systems that make a lot of different diets and healthy lifestyle changes and nutrition aspects of supplements make them quite different for females, for us girls, and for guys. So guys, if you're a guy and you don't really care much about how fasting might work for females, maybe you don't have sisters, moms, and girlfriends, and wives who you care enough about to listen to this episode. Anyhow, if you are a guy and you don't care about anything female related, then you might skip this episode. It's all about female fasting strategies. But if you are a guy who does care about other females in your life, please do listen. Please do share this episode with your other beautiful or your family member, your sister, your dear mom, your co-worker who you utterly respect and adore. Anyhow, listen, share, and if you are a female, please apply some of these strategies to help you to look and feel better in your own feminine way. So, female fasting strategies. I'm going to be reading a lot from the book mostly. So women can benefit from fasting without compromising our reproductive health. So, girls, fasting can work for us. But a lot of times trying to be hardcore, moms, athletes, women, like strong women, we try to do a little bit too much of it, right? So, and then let me actually read a passage that I find summarizes what you might experience if you overdo fasting or do it in a way that doesn't really align with your hormones. So the fasting made me feel really good. Then my sleep quality went away. Then my hair started to fall out. Then my menstrual cycle went bonkers. Often women don't recognize this as symptoms of the fasting trap because the effects can resemble those of like menopause or some other things we might be experiencing hormonally. So there is such a thing as too much fasting, and I can personally share with you my personal experience that at some point I overdid fasting and keto, and my sleep was affected, quality of sleep. I would wake up too early, couldn't sleep really deeply. My hair started to thin out and fall out in places, specifically on my forehead. Now it all is growing back to normal because I adjusted my fasting and my diet. So fasting, girls, we can do it in the right way, so we don't have to suffer when it comes to our period. And by the way, guys, or not guys, but girls today, girls, my period also stopped when I was doing too much fasting and keto at the same time, and also training and all of that. So once I deloaded my training, once I reintroduced carbohydrates into my diet, of course from whole healthy foods, once I started to allow myself not to fast every single day, sometimes I eat late night dinners, sometimes I eat breakfast. Most of the time I do fast, but on a regular basis I also get out of my fasting schedule. And that returned everything back to normal, and my hair started to grow back better than before, and my sleep improved, and hormones and mood and so many other things. So how do we do fasting in a better way? So for example, one of the strategies from the book is fasting every other day, meaning, for example, you fast for 16-18 hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the rest of the week you eat breakfast or dinner, depending on how you decide to distribute those eating and non-eating hours, right? So every other day fasting. Also, do not work out a lot intensely. Do not do high intensity interval training or lift heavy weights on your fasting day. That seems to be a good advice that I personally can confirm that it works, because it might be too much stress fasting and doing all this high intensity training. Another hack that works for a lot of women, I'm reading from the book again, is to do Bulletproof intermittent fasting with 0 carbohydrates and 0 protein, just the Bulletproof coffee. And for those of you girls who aren't familiar with Bulletproof coffee, that's basically brain octane or MCT oil, a teaspoon of that, and a teaspoon of grass-fed butter blended with hot coffee. So that's Bulletproof coffee that would have some fats, basically a tablespoon of fat or 120 calories blended with your coffee. By the way, girls, it's very delicious. So if you haven't tried Bulletproof coffee, please do try. Maybe order some or buy some MCT oil, or also coconut oil might work, but not as well as MCT oil. Anyhow, and then you blend it and you drink this coffee that helps your body to produce those molecules, energy molecules that our brain can use instead of glucose, ketones. And so those ketones will help you help you to stay not hungry and not stressed. And that also seems to work for a lot of women, not just simply fasting through those 16-18 hours, but adding that Bulletproof coffee on top of that. Then some women also might want to add a little bit of protein, like collagen protein, for example, is recommended because it seems to affect your fasting window the least, 20 to 30 grams. Some women do well by eating normally all week and once a week doing a full 24-hour fast. So basically you don't do much fasting except for maybe like 12-hour daily fast. And then once a week you do 24-hour fast, maybe dinner to dinner. That seems to be the easiest. But also from all the research and people data, it seems that breakfast to breakfast actually works better, but it seems to be harder for people to do, not just women, but any kind of people, men including. And then also don't forget to be flexible. If you're feeling particularly stressed on any given day, then don't go hungry. Eat healthy foods, carbohydrates and proteins and fats, and that's gonna help you the most. Maybe, when you're really stressed, it's not the time to do intermittent fasting and do also workouts. So basically the whole idea is for women, fasting schedule to keep our hormones happy, gotta be less aggressive. So instead of, again, 16 hours or even 14 hours, maybe just 12 or 13 hours, and just make sure that you do not eat 3 hours before bed. That seems to be very beneficial for our gut health and for our sleep quality and for so many other health biomarkers. So don't eat 3 hours before sleep and then do 12-hour fast, and maybe once a week do 24, and maybe that is enough for you right now. So the next one. If you're a woman over 40 and or have significant weight to lose, here is a hack for you, girls. Before you start intermittent fasting, change your breakfast routine for about a month. So basically, before jumping on a wagon of intermittent fasting, maybe change your breakfast first. After you wake up, eat at regular time your morning meal with some fat, and at least 40 grams of proteins to reset your leptin sensitivity, or basically your hunger hormones, making it easier for your body to lose weight. So what it means, like maybe have a cup of tea or coffee, a few eggs, or a piece of meat, a piece of salmon, and avocado, maybe add additional scoop of protein to that breakfast routine, maybe make like a shake, good quality, whole foods without some weird ingredients shake. Again, few eggs, piece of salmon or meat, and avocado, and that's going to be your breakfast. So they change your breakfast into that low carbohydrate, whole foods, rich in protein and fats kind of breakfast. So for 30 days. And then after 30 days, do those other things that we talked about, like every other day fasting, like maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do 16 hours, and then the rest of the week you do whatever you usually do. Or maybe you just eat for 12 hours every single day, except for one day you don't eat for 24 hours, maybe like from breakfast to breakfast. That seems to be the most beneficial. And also don't forget, if you are trying keto or low carb diet, that from time to time, don't forget to replenish your meals with good carbohydrates, and enough of them, from sweet potatoes, from rice, from other tuber-like vegetables that are amazing for our gut health and our whole body health and stress levels. Of course, nobody's recommending to eat pizza or cookies to reduce your stress levels. That actually adds stress, not reduces it, even though it does seem to calm you down. Sugar has this effect, but in fact, overall, sugar and sugary stuff and processed foods increase stress levels in the body. Another piece of advice for any women, but also women after 40 specifically, do not do intense daily exercise while fasting, unless you are really, like, you have a lot of experience and you know your body and it doesn't affect you negatively. It is stressful to the body to combine extreme amounts of exercise with a low-fat, low-calorie diet, with a lot of intermittent fasting in general. Both male and female bodies respond to these messages with exhaustion, adrenal fatigue, and hormone imbalances, meaning high-intensity training, and then on top of that, a lot of fasting and dieting. But women are more sensitive to these problems and feel the effects first. A diet consisting of high-quality, healthy fats, moderate protein intake, and cyclical low-carb intake is extremely healthy and beneficial when it comes to weight loss. So now, for women either pre-menopausal, perimenopausal, or menopausal. So let's talk first about the menopause. You've stabilized, you will probably do very well on intermittent fasting, possibly even better than before. And then Dave shares, my mother loves it. She does intermittent fasting and one meal a day almost all the time. It took her a while to get used to it, but now she says she feels much better when she fasts. For my wife, Dave shares, who is still in perimenopause, the effects of one meal a day are more erratic. Some days she feels amazing, others not. The way you feel on any given day during a fast is also very much tied to where you are in your menstrual cycle, if you still have cycle. In any case, for all the women, there is a common theme. Start out gently by just skipping breakfast, for example, and having that bulletproof coffee that we talked about, guys, with a teaspoon of MCT oil, a teaspoon of grass-fed butter, real butter, mixed with in a blender with hot coffee. That's important, by the way, blending. Otherwise, you're gonna mess up. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a whole bunch of fatty mass that doesn't look or taste good, guys. So blending is important. No proteins or carbs for breakfast. That's the recommendation to start out. And then you increase the size of your fasting window. You might go to up to 16-hour fast, maybe every other day or so. So you don't have dinner 3 hours before sleep, for example. You finish at 6 p.m. Then you go to bed. You wake up at like 6 a.m. So you already have 12 hours. And then you might go for another 4 hours. And that all it takes to do your 16-hour fast. And again, do it once in a while, do it a couple, 3 times a week, or just do one 24-hour fast, and that may be enough for you. If you're entering perimenopause, try shorter intermittent fast. Don't do them back to back. Also, a piece of advice for everyone, by the way, drinking alcohol, even a glass of wine, may make fasting harder. It has a lot to do with hormones, your fluids fluctuation, your insulin and blood sugar levels. So alcohol seems to make fasting harder for a lot of people. You're just going to be hungrier and angrier and low on energy and experience a lot of negative stuff when it comes to fasting instead of just getting all the benefits. Changes, and this is more about women's body changing over time. So changes in body composition and weight are a normal part of menopause and are not just the result of your diet. Menopause also menstrual cycle, girls. Even if you do the world's most perfect intermittent fasting plan and eat all the best quality foods, and your under-functioning thyroid that seems to be functioning less effectively with age will still make you put on weight. The changes in your estrogen to progesterone ratio can also make weight loss challenging. And to conclude this episode, girls, when you plan your diet, sleep, exercise, supplements, and all of the other things that go into your fast, be mindful of the cycles and sex-specific evolutionary legacy you carry inside you. And also never fast during pregnancy, lactation probably also. To conclude this episode, the main line of thought is for women, we need to start gradually. Don't do it too intense or too often. So as a beginner, you might start out with just not having any food 3 hours before bed and maybe doing 12, 13 hours of fasting till next morning breakfast. You might also start prolonging after a while, after you get used to this 12 hours first, prolonging your fasting window with some bulletproof coffee first or something similar. Maybe just a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein, maybe again a few eggs, piece of salmon, an avocado, cup of coffee. You start with that, and then gradually you might add a few hours to your fast, not eating breakfast very soon, and do it not every day, but every other day. And then also you might even not fast every day or every other day, but instead do one weekly 24-hour fast that a lot of my female clients actually do. Breakfast to breakfast seems to be more beneficial to body composition. And then also, girls, do monitor your mood, your energy levels, and your period, of course, and don't exercise intensively on your fasting days. And for women over 40, you probably definitely want to take it a bit slower. Pre-menopause, menopause, that might change a lot of things. Again, just monitor your condition. Start out slowly. Do not go too intense. When you fast, allow yourself to rest a little bit more and to not exercise as much, and you should be okay. And if you have any more specific questions that are more specific to your situation, please let me know. Maybe you're on a specific diet, you have specific health condition, and you're wondering whether intermittent fasting or any sort of fasting can work for you to improve that condition. And also maybe you're curious how it's best to do it in your situation, to take all of these, details of your own health into consideration before designing a better plan for you. Actually, right now, I'm getting certified as an intermittent fasting coach with precision nutrition. So I'm getting better at figuring out all these different details of fasting for females, for athletes, and for males. So if you have any questions, if you'd like a more personalized plan because you're not sure that the plan you are trying or tried or heard about gonna work for you for many different reasons, please do reach out and please consult with me, and I'm gonna give you my best advice, what's like the next best step, and we'll take it from there. And don't forget, guys, of course, if there are guys listening to this, please do share this episode with your other beautiful halves or members of your family and your social circle. Please do share. Please learn together. Reach out with questions. I love those questions on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Please reach out. I'm more than happy to help you out, to answer all of your questions. And guys and girls, till next time, as usual, eat better daily. And besides that, try to do some fasting. And if you're not sure how to start, you know where to find me.